It's Transformers96 here with another video review. This time we have from the Star Wars The Black Series, the 3.75-inch Walmart exclusive Captain Phasma figure. So this was a figure that I was very much anticipating. It took me a while to find it, but I finally did find it, and I just kind of never did a review for it, and I'm finally going to come back and do a review now. I'm doing this because very soon I do have a kind of large comparison video going up between all of my Captain Phasma figures. I do have every Captain Phasma figure that I want. I'm finally, I've just ordered the last two. They'll be in here quite soon, so I will be doing a large Captain Phasma comparison. If you're interested in that, stay tuned. But up until then, I will be reviewing all of the Captain Phasma figures that I haven't reviewed yet. So that is the 3.75-inch one. I've got the statue I'm going to be reviewing, and the Mayfix as well as the Hot Toys one. So yeah, so let's get started with this one. As you can see, looking pretty nice there. Of course, it just uses the kind of silverish look that Hasbro has been going with, and not the chrome look, which is of course the more accurate one. And this is obviously an upgraded version of the 3.75-inch one that comes in the regular series, which we kind of have here. On the left, this is actually a basic Captain Phasma that's been modified, that now has some articulation, actually. So this does also have articulation, but as you can see, just the sculpts themselves are very different. As you can see, the torso on the regular 3.75-inch one is much larger than it is on the articulated Walmart exclusive one, as well as the legs are bulkier. As you can see, they've kind of slimmed down the other 3.75-inch one, which I think is a more accurate proportions. This one seems to have more proportions in scale with the 6-inch counterpart. The 6-inch one has some quite bulky proportions, while this one is more slimmed down, which I think looks slightly nicer. And obviously completely uses a new sculpt. No part is reused here. So going over the sculpt, other than those changes, it does look quite nice. You do have very good, slick armor, of course, and all the pouches look quite nice. As far as the paint goes, obviously they're using this kind of silverish color, but it is quite shiny, which is nice. It's not, dull or anything, so that does help it, even though it's not accurate. Of course, my biggest issue with it is the quality. I think the quality is quite bad on this figure as far as paint is concerned. As you can see, you do have a lot of little paint issues, particularly right next to the joints. There's a lot of little paint splotches, and even worse so is here at the thigh. As you can see, you've got a lot of silver on that thigh piece when it should not be, and that just looks pretty awful. So definitely don't like that at all. I think that you've got some bleeding here on this elbow too. Really don't like the quality of paint. It's not applied very neatly, and it does spill over into the black pieces, which is really disappointing. Also on the sculpt, the feet are really annoying because they're super thin, but they're extremely long. Now Captain Phasma does have some long feet, but this seems out of proportion to this body, which just it makes her look weird. I can't get her in a very realistic, natural pose because of these feet. They just kind of look strange. So I'm not a big fan of those. So the paint quality and then the feet size is definitely something that I wouldn't say is accurate. So that's disappointing. As far as articulation goes, it's decent. I mean, this 3.75-inch line has articulation, so that's great. Obviously, it's much better than the regular 3.75-inch line. However, the articulation isn't that good. I wish that they did up it and put it more on a 6-inch a pedestal rather than this, which is pretty weak in total. It's all right, but it's not great. She has a ball jointed head. Wish that there was a hinge on that. She has ball hinge shoulders, which work quite nicely. She has hinge swivel elbows. I wish that it was double hinge, or that the hinge here had a little bit more range. It doesn't quite make it to 90 degrees, but it gets close. Then you have swivel hinge at the wrist. What I do like is that here they have the hinge going up and down, and then on this side they have the hinge going in and out. So I do like when figures do that, particularly ones that have to hold guns, so that is quite nice for her. She has a ball jointed torso, which is pretty limited. I mean, it can go back slightly, it can go forward ever so little, and then mainly just swivels. And then her thighs are really annoying. They're not quite ball jointed, they're just hinges on pegs, so you have to swivel the hinge and then you can bring it forward. It does get stopped at her little packs there though on the belts, so that does hinder articulation. And then you have to swivel the knee and bend it down if you want her like this, but then it just gives her these massive thighs because this is the interior of the thigh instead of the front piece. So it's functional to a certain degree, however it does not look good, so I'm not a fan of those thigh pieces. And then the knees are swivel hinge. They hinge even less than the elbows. They don't get even close to 90 degrees, which is very disappointing. And then the ankles are hinge and swivel, and you know, they're not really hindered by the pieces of armor, which is nice. So you know, the articulation's all right. I would have liked some more range in the elbows and knees. I find the lack of a pivot on the ankles very disappointing, and then I don't like the way that the thighs articulate. She comes with a blaster here, which does look nice. It's a bit bent, I would say, which is disappointing. Actually, you know, I bought this Captain Phasma, and it had, you know, her with a blaster, and then it had another blaster just in the package, like accidentally. So I did get 2 blasters with this Captain Phasma. I'm just remembering that now. It's kind of funny. But anyway, the blaster does look nice. It has some decent painting. You know, you've got this kind of goldish type of color with black pieces of detail on it. So looking pretty decent. Nothing special, but it works. And then you can put it in her hand, obviously. She holds it nicely, and you can get her to hold the weapon with 2 hands. It's a little hard though with the lack of a double hinge. What's it called? Double hinge. God, I can't think. Elbow. So yeah, with the double hinge elbow, you could get her in more like firing stances. However, just to get her to like hold it in a, you know, just holding it while she's like looking to a different direction, that looks completely fine. You know, you can do that pretty easily. But again, her feet just look so odd. You really, you know, it doesn't look very natural. But yeah, overall, a pretty decent figure. I wouldn't say it's anything fantastic. If you have the 6-inch one, there's really nothing special here. The only reason I would recommend this is if you have a 3.75-inch collection and you need a articulated Captain Phasma, because it is definitely better than the other Captain Phasma. However, I do find that this series is quite overpriced. This is a $13 series for 3.75-inch figures. I don't like that price tag. I have yet to actually purchase many figures that are 3.75-inch at $13 because I really you know, stand against that price tag. I think it's insane. But there you go. Overall, a nice looking figure. If you have a Captain Phasma collection, it's a nice one for you know, to add to it. However, the figure itself is nothing too revolutionary. So there you go. That's my video review of the Star Wars The Black Series Walmart exclusive 3.75-inch Captain Phasma figure. Let me know what you guys think of it, and thanks so much for watching.